the process of remembering and living into the truth that I deserve love and respect, that is the path, that is the point, that is the purpose. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I've had a few people reach out about seeing me on the show Hair Tales, which is the show on Hulu. It's on the Oprah Winfrey Network on OWN. And I actually referenced the experience of having my clip used on that show in another video, but I decided not to mention the show or mention Oprah or any of the people involved. Tracy Ellis Ross is involved. Culture House is the production company. I chose not to mention any of the names involved because the experience was one of them reaching out to me saying, hey, can we use your clip? Me not thinking anything of payment and just being like, yeah, sure, okay. Receiving the contract from them, seeing that there was a place there for a fee, and then attempting to negotiate for a fee that eventually they said they would give me a certain amount and it never came. And my error was that I signed the release without getting that written, well, it was written in email, but not getting that same amount in the actual contract. When I reflected on the experience, I shared it more from the sense of, you know, this is a reflection of my own inner journey and how I don't love and value myself and don't have my own self-worth. And if I really, you know, had healed around that, I wouldn't have even attracted a situation where somebody would not think to pay me for all the hard work, for all the skills, for all the time and all the energy that I've poured into creating on YouTube, to the point where I would make something that they would want to use on a television show and on Oprah Winfrey's own network. And I just came back from a week of healing trauma with Thomas Hubel. We just had our in-person Timeless Wisdom Training Retreat, and that experience was extremely powerful, and it allowed me to now make this video where I do feel comfortable naming everyone involved and sharing more about sort of the healing and why it is that I feel called to talk more about the experience. When I was at the retreat, one of the biggest healing processes I had was around deservingness and around especially deserving self-respect, respect from others, support from others, love from others, recognition, attention, all these things. A feeling of I actually deserve things, it's actually right that I'm treated with love and respect. And when that isn't happening, it's actually unacceptable. So I've had different experiences in my life where, of course, as a child, I had to justify why I was in all these traumatic experiences. And that has followed into my adult life, into a major, you know, production company, a major TV show, a company that says they're, you know, Black owned and women owned and all these things, making a show about Black hair, which we know is so political because of white supremacy. These things that are so very obviously supporting, honoring, and respecting Black women, and to be treated in a way that didn't honor and respect me, I had to go through all these loops to sort of justify why it was happening, and here's how it's actually my fault, you know, which is part of my healing journey. It was through this healing process, and I feel so, so grateful that I learned a few things, and I want us to sort of share them with you all. One is, you know, there are certain creators who are very comfortable, which is what I thought. I thought they were very comfortable with calling out BS, with demanding respect, with demanding not even acceptance, but just demanding to be seen and to be appreciated, you know? Jackie Aina is one of those creators. I remember when I'd watch her videos and she would talk about colorism and the makeup industry and all these things, and she would share the hate and the vitriol she would get in her comments, I used to say to myself, I could never do that. I could never be that person, you know, because the amount of vulnerability and the amount of negativity that you get as a result of being the person to raise their hand and say, hey, this is actually not okay, and I'm not gonna just passively accept it and stand for it. I was like, that takes a level of strength and courage that I truly could only aspire to. And there's a woman in the TWT community who similarly embodies that courage. And I remember when I saw her showing up the way she did within our community, I said to her multiple times, I was like, I literally could never do what you do. I could never do what you do, girl. Like, it's so impressive that you're the one to do this, you know? And it was interesting because then after I had my experience in the program of sort of raising my hand and sort of demanding more and better, she came to me later and she said, you know, no one else has said that to me. No one else comes up to me and says, couldn't be me. you know? And I think in that she saw that actually I've got that within me. I've got that energy within me to stand up and to say that something is not right and to say we demand better, we demand more. And so much of my healing has been about like really allowing myself to feel the fear of it isn't safe to do that. You will not be safe. Your body, your mind, your energy, your spirit will not be safe. You'll be put in danger if you put yourself out there in that way. And unsurprisingly, life is continuing to invite me to do just that. So I can prove to myself and prove to others that yes, it is scary and it is hard and it's so worth it. And what I experienced this past week was that in raising my hand, in naming what I saw was going on in the field, and advocating for myself and others, I literally changed the course of the entire experience for everyone in a way that made it better, in a way that allowed more people to feel comfortable pooling in their voices, in a way that allowed for greater intimacy and greater depth, and in a way that allowed me to have a one-on-one with Thomas Hubel. And it was that conversation with Thomas Hubel that further allowed me to make this video. So we were chatting and I was curious about what it looked like to be more involved in his organization, because he does a lot of collective trauma work and hosts these incredible programs and things like that. And you know, they need more Black people. So I was like, I'm more than happy to explore what it would look like to bring my services to the organization. And so he was sort of explaining what it looked like and the different levels. And as he was talking, I sensed that there was a bit of a misalignment. And so I said, I don't really think, you know, given what I really love, the sort of creative, the relational, the more intimate, like these, you know, one-on-ones, like, I don't know if that would really make sense for me and for my purpose and for my path. And so he asked me, he was like, and what do you see your purpose being in the world? And I was just like, Oprah. Like, I just said the one word. I was like, I'm a star. I don't know how to say it, you know, humbly, Thomas. I'm a star, all right? What he shared, which was so valuable for me, is he talked about how we know we live in this traumatized world, and everybody who's called to do the Timeless Wisdom training is committed to healing and is often very committed to healing in a way that does impact the rest of the world. And he had seen my YouTube, and he gave me a lot of compliments. And he said that, you know, it's not about marketing in a sick world. It's not about making impact like this, you know, where you're like skating on the surface in a traumatized world. It's about bringing in that light and then going in deep and infusing that into the culture. And it may take longer, but that's the actual real work, because you don't want to just be dancing with the shadows and dancing in the trauma and repeating those same cycles. And what I thought was so interesting is that when asked, where do I see myself and where do I see my creative career going, I named Oprah. And it was with Oprah, this Black woman, this successful Black woman, where I'm experiencing the exact same traumatization of white supremacy. It feels very scary to sort of name that. I was chatting with a friend who gave me some major insight around, because I was, you know, just the irony of like working with a production company that touts being Black owned and women owned on a show about Black hair on a TV network run by a Black woman. It just, the irony of not wanting to pay Black creators was so like, they literally were like, we're just working with a really small budget. And I'm like, Oprah is working with a really small budget? Like, it just made no sense. And my friend shared with me how, and it was essentially the same thing that Thomas Hubel was kind of reflecting, that when you are so rooted in a culture with these shadows, with like white supremacy and racism and misogyny, with these things rooted in the culture, you may find that even with your best intentions, you can still be recreating and reproducing these cycles of oppression, even if you're trying so hard not to. And I know it's not easy. That's the thing. If it was easy to heal trauma, we would all done it. We would all be living in a paradise utopia, heaven on earth, right? So it takes a lot of intense work. That's what, I mean, I just spent a week, literally every day I was weeping. So it takes a lot of work, and a lot of people have come very far and continue to push the baton and move it further and further and further. And what I really experienced firsthand was that each one of us is called to carry the light and push our culture and push our world further. Oprah pushed our culture and has pushed our world further. Tracy Ellis Ross, who I think is one of the other big creators involved in the show, she has helped push our culture and push our world forward. And if it was easy, someone else would have done it. and they had the strength and the courage to do their part in it. And every time a new person is brought into the world, they have that same calling, they have that same purpose. And it's when we let our fear and we let our trauma stop us from living in that purpose that the entire world suffers. And so in creating on YouTube, I found that I'm using the leading edge. I'm using those places where I'm feeling that fear, where I'm feeling that, oh no. I would love to work with Oprah, for real. I don't consider them taking a clip from my YouTube channel as working with them. I would love to genuinely actually work with Oprah, right? What I found is that desire and the fear that, but if I say something about this experience, I won't get to do it, that was what was keeping me from actually being authentic and expressing myself fully. And as a creative coach, one of the biggest things I help my clients do is express themselves authentically and fully and help them move through that fear and turn that fear into courage. And what I've heard is that whenever you're any sort of healer, coach, professional, therapist, whatever, like your first client is yourself. And so actually everything that I'm supporting my clients with it's truly just the things that I am supporting myself with. And if I am unable to create content that is honest, that is authentic, that is really pushing me up against my own edges and giving myself that room to dance with it, then what are we even doing here? I'm listening to this project that Thomas People did with Sounds True. It's called The Power of We. It's like an audiobook. And he talks about how when we commit to life, we commit to accepting the invitation that life gives us truly every moment of every day. And when we find ourselves in situations where the feelings that are coming up for us make us want to retract and go inward and not deal with it and just be like, you know what, I'm not going to have this hard conversation or feel this uncomfortable feeling. I'm just going to let this just like hang out forever, When you are committed to life, it's not acceptable to be in a situation, to be in a relationship, to be in an environment where things are coming up for you that are authentic and true in your lived experience. And instead of being able to be with that, sit with that, explore that, examine that, feel it, and release it, instead of doing that, you just say, I'm not going to deal with it right now. I'm going to hope it goes away. That is you not living into your commitment to life. And when you are committed to life, you commit to doing that with every situation, every experience, every feeling, every person. And that's a major commitment, and it's hard. And this experience happened weeks ago, maybe months ago at this point. It's just been hitting, it's just been sitting in me, sitting in my gut, the feeling of like, I know this isn't right. I know this isn't right, and I'm scared. I'm scared to talk about this. This makes me so uncomfortable to talk about this. I would prefer to just chalk it up to me being this novice creator who doesn't know better, who doesn't have a lawyer, and actually I should just like learn from it and never talk about it, and then the next experience, then I'll learn and I'll do something different. And of course, it just stayed with me and it stayed with me and it stayed with me. And ultimately, I'm just really grateful for the Timeless Wisdom training, because it was the experience of raising my voice, of raising my hand, of advocating for myself, of being supported in that, of being able to process and heal and cry about it, that has now given me the courage to now show up and create this video. And I don't know if this video will make any waves. Part of me is like, maybe Oprah will see this video and she'll be like, Chimdi, I'm so sorry that happened. Here's some money to pay off all them credit card bills. And I'll be like, thank you, Oprah. And she'll be like, and do you want to maybe just like do a show on my network? And I'll be like, obviously, thank you for asking. But part of me knows that that's not really, it's not the aim, it's the path. And so the real thing is being able to be in my body and create the safety and pull in the resources that affirm that my experience, my feelings, my heart, my talent, my energy, these are things worth honoring, worth appreciating, worth respecting. And the process of remembering and living into the truth that I deserve love and respect, that is the path, that is the point, that is the purpose, and anything that comes as a byproduct of that, beautiful. Thank you for watching this video. Patreon people, thank you for your support. Leave me a comment below if this resonated with you. If you're interested in creative coaching, you can put some time on my calendar in the description box. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.